everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So I'm here today because it is Booklist Thursday, and Booklist Thursday is something I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of thoughts, ideas, recommendations, something bookish related. So the theme for today are books we would recommend that are set in the mountains or in the woods. So I have somewhat of a variety of options for you. This was a fun one to do. I love a very good atmospheric book. I like the house or the area where it's taking place to almost be its own character or its own contribution to the story. So I love books like that. So the first one I want to talk about is more of a sci-fi book, a book that isn't necessarily a Lindsey book, but I really enjoyed it. Devolution by Max Brooks. Huge thanks to the reading retreat. That's where I first heard about this book and absolutely fell in love. Love it. I listened to this book on audio and I did it in, I want to say, like a day. Very addictive. The audiobook production is done really well. So this one follows a community called Green Loop, and what happened to them after Mount Rainier erupted. So it erupted. Green Loop was a kind of community off on its own, out kind of in the wilderness, yet very tech savvy, very modern community to live in, but it was kind of off on its own, like this little utopia that you could live in. But when Mount Rainier erupted, the roads to this community and the communication to this community were cut off, and so they were by themselves. Not only are they by themselves, but a family of Bigfoot, Sasquatches, are also stuck in the same area. So this follows what happened to this community, and it's wild. It's wild. But definitely in the woods, definitely obviously in the mountains. We've got a lot of outdoorsy scenes going on here, a little relying on nature, relying on the environment to survive. It was really great. I loved it. Audiobook is definitely the way to go. The next book I want to talk about is The Wicked Sister by Karen Dion. This takes place in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We call it the UP, but I figured not everybody's gonna know what that is, but the UP. But it takes place kind of in a remote-ish area of it. We have our main character, Rachel. So Rachel admitted herself to a psychiatric hospital after a series of events occurred where she didn't have full memory of what happened, but all she knows is that she was responsible for her parents' death. So she checks herself in because she knows she needs time to heal. She does the work. She's in there for quite a while, and upon her release, either right before or after, she learns some information that maybe her conclusion was wrong. And so she heads back home to this very remote cabin in the woods to search for answers and figure out what really happened that night. And we go from there. Definitely some great scenes in this book where there is some out in the woods type of things happening. As soon as we came up with this prompt, this was a book that popped into my head right away, and I was like, yep, we gotta include that one because it was great. I really enjoyed it. I liked it better than Karen Dion's other book that I can't think of the name of right now, but by far this is my favorite one by her so far. So then I have a couple of historical fiction books to talk about. I can't think about wilderness and woods and mountains without thinking about Where the Lost Wander. This is by Amy Harmon. This is a fantastic historical fiction about basically the movement west. So we are 1853. We follow Naomi, which you cannot help but fall in love with Naomi as a character. But she's widowed at 20 and eager to leave her grief behind. She sets off with her family for life out west. They follow the Oregon Trail, the dream of that time period. She forms an instant connection with John Lowry. He's a half Indian man that is straddling those two worlds, yet strangers to both of them. So he is like their guide out west. So it's definitely a Oregon Trail type book. If you are an elder millennial or zennial, whatever you want to call us, that played Oregon Trail at school, this book is for you. Absolutely. But I loved it. Definitely a lot of mountains, a lot of wilderness, a lot of that theme running through it. But I can't love this book enough. And I feel like I haven't talked about it lately. So go pick that one up as well. The other historical fiction is going to be The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This one follows the Packhorse Library project that Eleanor Roosevelt kicked off, where it was a traveling library that took books to people who were living in remote places, like in the mountains in Kentucky. So we have our main character, Alice, who is newly married, trying to find her footing in this Kentucky town, where there's a mine, I believe. That's kind of where the main people work and her husband works. So she decides to sign up for this project and take library books to people who are up in the mountains of Kentucky, and it kind of just gives herself a little bit of purpose. It is an addictive story. You definitely, like, again, can picture the scenes of getting up into these mountains to these very remote cabins and connecting with these people and having relationships with these people. It was a really beautiful book. I loved it. I recommend that all the time. And then I think we're on my last one. And then I have one book that I have not read, but I have to put it in here because it had the word woods in it. So this is What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. This little short synopsis is: they were 11 when they sent a killer to prison. They were heroes, but they were liars. This follows Naomi. She used to believe in magic, but 22 years ago, her and her two best friends, Cassidy and Olivia, spent the summer roaming the woods, imagining a world of ceremony and wonder, the Goddess Game. The game became an obsession and a refuge for them. That sanctuary was shattered when Naomi was attacked. Miraculously, she survived her 17 stab wounds and lived to identify the man who hurt her. The girl's testimony put the serial killer away. They were heroes, but they were liars. For decades, the friends have kept a secret that might be worth killing for, hidden in the forest. But now Olivia wants to tell the whole story. Then she goes missing, and Naomi sets out to find out what really happened in the woods, no matter how dangerous the turn takes. So I've heard it's unputdownable. I've heard it's a really quick book. It's been on my shelf to read next for quite a while. I can't wait to get to this one, but it sounds very intriguing and like it's going to have that bit of an atmospheric piece to the book that I love. So those are 5 books, well, 4 books I recommend. One, I think it's going to be great, that are set in the woods or in the mountains. Comment below if you have any other books to add to this list. Otherwise, head over to Sarah's channel, see what she has for us today. Comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you next time.